Hi guys, this is my dog Lenny, and he wanted to say hello to you. Lenny is named after Lenny and of Mice and Men. So this is Lenny. He'll get down any second because he's got important things to do outside. Okay, we're going to do Act 3, Scene 2. Juliet finds out from the nurse what has happened between Romeo, Tybalt, and Mercutio. Unfortunately, it takes the nurse a long time to get the whole story out, and Juliet is very upset in the meantime because she doesn't know what's going on and she's a little confused. There he goes. So, on page 1 of this scene, Juliet is eagerly awaiting nightfall. She has sent the nurse to get the rope ladder from Romeo's servant Balthazar, and they're going to hang the rope ladder from Juliet's balcony, and Romeo will climb up to her at night, and they will have their wedding night. And on page 2, the nurse appears, and Juliet asks her, like, are you carrying the cords, the rope ladder? And the nurse says, I, which is yes. The rope ladder. And Juliet says, I me, what news? Why dost thou wring thy hands? So Juliet is giving the nurse's actress, like the person who's playing the nurse, cues as to how the nurse is acting throughout the scene. So the nurse is wringing her hands like this. And the nurse says, ah, well a day, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. We are undone, lady, we are undone. Alack the day, he's gone, he's killed, he's dead. And Juliet was just thinking and talking about Romeo, and the nurse says he's dead. The nurse is talking about Tybalt, but Juliet doesn't know that the nurse is talking about Tybalt. She thinks that the nurse is talking about the death of Romeo. Okay, so Juliet says, can heaven be so envious? So can God be so jealous as to take Romeo from me so quickly? And the nurse says, Romeo can, though heaven cannot. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, who would have ever thought it, Romeo. So the nurse says Romeo was the one to do the killing, and so Juliet thinks that if Romeo is dead, and Romeo was the one who had done the killing, then Romeo must have committed suicide. Okay, and the nurse says she saw the wound, and this is Tybalt's wound, but Juliet thinks that she's talking about Romeo. Okay, and Juliet says, vile earth to earth resign, end motion here, and thou and Romeo press one heavy bier. So this is page 3. And Juliet says basically that if Romeo is dead, she will die of heartbreak and they will be buried together. And then the nurse says, oh, Tybalt, Tybalt, the best friend I had. Oh, courteous Tybalt, honest gentleman, that ever I should live to see thee dead. So now the nurse says, Tybalt is dead. So Juliet immediately thinks Romeo's dead and Tybalt's dead. So what could have happened to cause all this death at once? And then the nurse says, Tybalt is gone and Romeo banished. Romeo that killed him, he is banished. So the nurse finally tells Juliet exactly what's going on. And Juliet says, oh God, did Romeo's hand shed Tybalt's blood? Nurse says, it did, alas the day it did. And Juliet says, O serpent heart hid with a flowering face, did ever dragon keep so fair a cave? Beautiful tyrant, fiend angelical, dove feathered raven, wolvish ravening lamb, despised substance of divinest show. Oh, that I skipped some lines. Oh, that deceit should dwell in such a gorgeous palace. So she loves Romeo so much, and he's so attractive that it doesn't seem that he could hide that much evil within him. And then the nurse says on page 4, shame come to Romeo. So now Juliet is angry at the nurse Juliet's angry at Romeo for killing her cousin, but she doesn't want the nurse to talk bad about him. So Juliet says, "Blistered be thy tongue for such a wish. He was not born to shame. Upon his brow shame is ashamed to sit. For 'tis a throne where honor may be crowned, sole monarch of the universal earth. Oh, what a beast was I to chide at him." Okay, and then Juliet says how much emotion she has on the bottom of page 4, how much emotion she's feeling about the death of her cousin. And she's like, "I should be grateful because Tybalt would have killed Romeo, and Romeo's alive, and Tybalt, who wanted him dead, is dead, so I should be happy." But then she thinks about the fact that Romeo is banished, so he will be alive, but they can't be together. So it's almost worse than him being dead is knowing he's out there, but she can't be near him. Okay, and then she says to the nurse on page 5, I skipped several lines, take up the cords. So go ahead and hang the cords from the balcony. She says, "But I, a maid, die maiden widowed. Come, cords, come, nurse, all to my wedding bed, and death, not Romeo, take my maiden head." And nurse says, "Hie to your chamber, I'll find Romeo to comfort you. I wot well where he is. Hark ye, your Romeo will be here at night. I'll to him. He is hid at Lawrence's cell." So Juliet is going to go prepare herself for Romeo to come to her for their wedding night. And the nurse is going to go find Romeo. And Romeo's going to be at Friar Lawrence's. And the nurse will arrange for them to be together for their wedding night. And then Romeo's going to have to leave immediately in the morning, because the prince has said if he's found within Verona's walls, he will be killed. So Juliet's found out what happened, and they've made arrangements for them to be together one more time, and then for Romeo to be banished and leave Verona. And that's it. So that was Act 3, Scene 2, and I will see you guys on the next one.